So President Joe Biden had his meeting with Republicans at the White House on Monday night to talk about the COVID relief bill. Joe Biden had proposed a $1.9 trillion package. Republicans were allowed to express to Joe Biden why they want a $618 billion package, but it's now being made abundantly clear that Joe Biden and Democrats are hopefully ready to move ahead without Republicans. That's what Joe Biden's press secretary Jen Psaki said earlier this week at a White House press briefing. It's what Joe Biden seems to be communicating. And I hope that it's time to just go and do it, because at this point in time, I don't see the benefit to anybody in the Democratic Party. And that includes Joe Biden, as well as Democrats in the House and Senate, of waiting with the idea that maybe some Republicans might be OK with some kind of completely flaccid and pathetic a compromise between the 1.9 trillion and the 618 billion. And at this point, the perspective should be if Republicans realize that the $1.9 trillion package and what it contains is popular even with some of their constituents, it's Republican voters who want the stimulus package too. If some Republicans realize that, then maybe they'll vote for it in the House or vote for it in the Senate. If they don't realize that, or realize it but don't care, and every single Republican decides to vote against the $1.9 trillion COVID stimulus package, let them do it at their own peril. And what I mean by that is, once their names are on the record as saying, no, I'm against the COVID stimulus package that is popular even with many of my Republican constituents, well, then it'll be up to Republican voters to decide whether they want to reelect those very same Republicans. And my guess is you will get some Republicans to come along with Joe Biden's plan because they realize that many of their constituents want it. So Joe Biden has been widely criticized for sitting down with Republicans on Monday night and not with Democrats. Some hot takes saying this is a right wing president. He talks to Republicans, but not Democrats. I think that that is very far from what is going on. I am pleased increasingly that Joe Biden and Democrats aren't budging on the $1.9 trillion proposal. Joe Biden had no need to meet with Democrats because Joe Biden and Democrats mostly are on the same page about the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Do the meeting with Republicans because Joe Biden said that he wanted unity. He said he wanted bipartisanship. He said he would work with Republicans, and he's trying to. And that olive branch was this meeting on Monday night. But it's time to stop. When Joe Biden said, if we win these Georgia races, $2,000 checks go out immediately, that doesn't mean you negotiate with bad faith actor Republicans into March and hopefully get checks out by the end of March, if not early April. Enough time has gone by. And if Joe Biden and Democrats don't move forward on the 1.9 trillion, put it at risk. You know, if Republicans really want to vote against it, let them do it. But if Joe Biden doesn't move forward with this, it is going to be a failure in Joe Biden's column. He was very clear about what he would do and what it would mean to add Senate control for Democrats, in addition to Joe Biden taking the White House from Donald Trump. And we will now see if they are going to put their money where their mouths are. Now, I think that the calculation to be made, there's a couple of calculations here when you think about this from a political strategy standpoint. Democrats, by not budging on 1.9 trillion, are doing a couple of different things. Number one, I hope Democrats and Joe Biden realize that if you meet somewhere in the middle, like imagine that Democrats say, OK, you know what? We want 1.9 trillion. Republicans want 618 billion. Let's do 1.3 trillion or something like that. A ton of Republicans are still going to vote against it, even though it will end up likely passing. And so Republicans will end up getting the benefit of it passing and money getting to their constituents while continuing to be able to virtue signal about the debt and the deficit and spending. Oh, and what not everybody deserves the money and all of this sort of stuff. So the calculation I hope Democrats are making is they know the plan is more popular with the country than the portion of people who voted for Joe Biden. In other words, this is a COVID stimulus package that's popular with 60, 65, 70% of the country. That's much more than the share that voted for Joe Biden. That means there are millions of Republican voters that like this plan and they want it to pass. If Democrats realize that, and they realize even if we negotiate with Republicans, many of them will still vote against it. Let's just move forward. We have the ability to do this via budget reconciliation, assuming all 50 Democrats in the Senate are on board, which is still a bit of a question mark, but is likely. Let's actually put these Republican senators in particular and members of the House in a position of having to vote against something that their constituents want. Let them vote no. Let them say it's bad. Let them then have to go and explain their votes to their constituents. I believe this is a political risk very much worth taking for Joe Biden and Democrats. I think the meeting was a fine move for Joe Biden. He's giving the Republicans an opportunity to show they actually want to help the American people. They present a counter offer that's so pathetic and pitiful that it's humiliating and embarrassing, and now put them in the position of actually saying, are you really going to vote for nothing for your constituents? Are you going to try to prevent any money from going out? Because this is the package. So I'm fine with the meeting. I'm fine with not budging. I'm fine with moving forward without Republicans. The question now is, can Joe Biden actually get it done? If he can get it done, his early approval on COVID and in general is going to persist. It's going to be buoyed, for lack of a better term. If Joe Biden fails to get this done or something close to it, like I think even if Joe Biden did $600 billion in the end, I think it would be considered a failure. He said $2,000 checks are going out. Now we're already talking about adding $1,400 to the $600 to make it a total of $2,000. That's already a concession that I don't like to see. If Biden can't get this done and get it done in the next 10 to 14 days, it is going to be the first major failure of the Biden administration. Let's hope it doesn't happen. I remain cautiously optimistic that it will get done. I like the way Democrats are just saying it's 1.9 trillion. That's what it is. Vote no if you want, Republicans. I think many will end up voting for it. If you are anything like me, you probably aren't thrilled with the idea of going into a doctor's office right now. And thankfully, there's a practical and affordable way to take control of your health and get personalized care from the comfort of your home. It's a service called SteadyMD. They're one of our sponsors. You take a quiz, you get matched with a licensed primary care physician who understands your health needs. You have a 1-hour video call with your new doctor. You establish a meaningful relationship with them. And after that, your doctor is available to you anytime by text, phone, or video chat. This is not a random doctor on call. Each doctor at SteadyMD has a limited number of patients, so they actually have time to listen to you. You get the personal attention that you deserve. They can do almost everything an in-person doctor can do: perform medical evaluations, talk to you about health concerns, send prescriptions to your home or local pharmacy, and anything they can't do online, they'll quickly set you up with an in-person provider to do, things like blood tests, as an example. You don't need insurance. It's only $99 a month with no other fees or copays. There are so many practical advantages to using SteadyMD for primary care, and it's also so much more affordable. Go to steadymd.com/Pakman to take the free quiz, see which doctor is right for you. I took their quiz. They matched me with a doctor who specializes in my particular health needs and situation. The doctor they gave me is a really perfect fit for me and my medical needs. There's no risk, no commitment to get started. Just click the link right underneath this video.